And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 3 of Fantasy Wrestling Ideas. And today, ladies and gentlemen, it's another special fantasy wrestling idea that I thought of and also was brought about to my attention from my subscriber Artie Mesk. I don't remember the rest of his YouTube channel, but the guy's name is Artie. Great guy. You ought to check out his channel. I'll give you guys the actual link to his channel for you guys to check out, because he's a pretty cool guy. He knows what he's talking about with professional wrestling. He has a friend that co-hosts with him as well for his wrestling reviews on pay-per-views and Raw reviews as well. And he threw out an idea to me that I thought was very interesting and intriguing, and I told him I'd definitely add this to episode number 3, so shout out to you, Artie. This idea was from him, was Kurt Angle versus Bret the Hitman Hart. Now, as you all may know, both of these men are very good technician wrestlers. They have never stepped foot in a ring, not once, not even to do promos, ever in their careers. So that is definitely a very intriguing type of match that could if it was to ever happen, but of course it will never happen, thanks to Bret Hart's career being over, from Goldberg with the severe concussion he sustained from him in Starrcade 99, and on top of the fact that he's old and no longer in the best shape to be a wrestler anymore either. And of course Kurt Angle being in TNA, which is starting to fall apart at the seams as we all know it. But anyway, so some of my subscribers have told me that they would like to see me expand a little bit more on my ideas on how the storyline would begin and how it would end. I did give a little bit more emphasis on episode number 2, with The Rock, Stone Cold, and Triple H at WrestleMania 32 possibly happening if Stone Cold was to participate in a match at WrestleMania 32. So, I'm going to expand on this. This is no script. I never planned any of this out. This is pretty much a free-for-all kind of thing. It's a wing-it kind of deal. So, here's how I would start this out. And I'm going to be thinking about this as I go, so don't mind me. But I just want to think about this in the proper manner. We go ahead. I would probably have Bret Hart come out, maybe in Canada, and, have Bret Hart talking about how he's going to make a WWE comeback return in the ring and everything. If he, and we would skip this to go I'd say about 20 years back to the point where he's in his mid-30s. He's coming near the end of his career kind of thing. And Bret Hart comes out, he announces that he's going to make one last run and possibly go for the WWE Championship. And then, out of nowhere, and this is all happening in Canada as well, in Montreal, Kurt Angle comes out. People go, what the fuck? And you get these two guys in the same ring. Unannounced, completely, you don't even know what the fuck's going on. Kurt Angle goes ahead and states he is as well making a return to the WWE ring for one last run as well, and states, you claim you're the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, and I really have to say this much, you're the best there was, and you're the best has been there ever will be. Per se. Bret Hart takes offense to that, and the Montreal crowd get really pissed off at Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle being Kurt Angle, as he's always been known in WWE, be more of a heel than a face. He goes ahead and says, yeah, and Canada also sucks, so they know how it is with being as a Bret Hart fan, kind of thing. And the fans go crazy. Bret Hart takes offense to it, of course, and they kind of go in a mediocre brawl. They get separated, and Vince McMahon or, Triple H. Let's just go with what's currently going on storylines. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, they come out and they state, okay, well, since you guys want to have a fight so much, we're going to put you guys in competition, not against each other, but picked opponents by us. Okay, sounds good. And I would have this leading up to a SummerSlam pay-per-view. Since I have done the last 2 episodes based at a WrestleMania, I think this would be kind of suitable for SummerSlam as well, besides just a WrestleMania pay-per-view event. So, we go ahead, we have Kurt Angle in one match. Let's just say he has a match with Adrian Neville. That would be a fucking awesome match if they were ever have that happen in WWE history. And then you have Bret Hart going one-on-one against, I don't know. Let's just go with Sheamus. That would be a pretty decent match. A technical wrestler with a brawler. That would be pretty damn good. So, we go ahead, and Kurt Angle's having his match. He ends up winning the match with a Angle Slam. Pins him, 1, 2, 3. Pretty clean match. Does a little bit of dirty tactics that are involved in this match. So on and so forth. So we go ahead and we have Bret Hart in the main event against Sheamus. That's where I would put this on a Monday Night Raw episode. You go ahead, you have Sheamus go ahead, and they're brawling, fighting with each other. It kind of ends up being a no DQ since they end up brawling outside the ring. It becomes, let's just say it's a double count out, no contest kind of deal. And then Kurt Angle comes out of nowhere with a crowbar and, well, no, not a crowbar, I shouldn't say that. I'd say a chair, and hits Bret Hart in the back of the head, going at, attacking a weak spot on Bret Hart since he is known to have very bad concussions. So he goes ahead, hits him in the back of the head, and Bret Hart's carried out on a stretcher, and he's gone. We have 2 weeks where Kurt Angle goes out and he's talking trash about Bret Hart, saying he's a weakling and he's this and he's that. And then, we have Kurt Angle in a match and Bret Hart appears out of nowhere. We'd say this match was Kurt Angle's opponent in this match for a Monday Night Raw episode because SmackDown isn't even count anymore in my personal opinion. It's just kind of a random, put some decent matches together and that's it. No storyline build up too much anymore in SmackDown. So we go ahead and we have Kurt Angle in a match against John Cena, let's just say. And Kurt Angle and John Cena, they're having a decent match and everything. Same old with those two. But then Bret Hart comes out of nowhere and with a crowbar. That's what I was referring to, a crowbar. And hits Angle right in the quadricep and in where the kneecap area is, since he has a very bad weak spot there too, with injuries that he sustained, besides the neck. But, the neck is a little bit more extreme. So he goes after his leg. Bam! He's being, not carried out, but helped out of the arena. And the next night on Raw, just the last week before SummerSlam, 6 days before SummerSlam, Kurt Angle comes out and says, you know what, you're an a-hole, blah, blah, blah. How could you do this to me? And Bret Hart goes on to say, hey, you know what? You want to hit me in a weak spot in the back of my head? You claim you're the best of the best? You think you're the greatest in the world? Well, guess what, bud? Let's go at it at SummerSlam, one-on-one, no holds barred, in a submission match, where you have to make your opponent tap out. This would be spectacular. No holds barred, submission match. So, we go ahead. Just the 6 days before SummerSlam, we get a tag team match where we're going to have John Cena and Bret the Hitman Hart in a tag team match against Kurt Angle and Sheamus. This, my friends, would turn out to be a pretty interesting match. I would go ahead at the end of the day, make Bret Hart walk away with the victory, not on Kurt Angle but Sheamus, to leave a little bit of an idea to the WWE audience that the momentum's more in Bret Hart's favor. So, we go to SummerSlam. Got the biggest, pretty close to the main event besides the WWE Championship title match. You go ahead, we're having Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, no holds barred submission match to declare who is the best technical wrestler in WWE's wrestling history. So we get these two guys together, they're brawling, they're fighting, they're hitting each other with chairs, they're hitting each other with anything you can find, kendo sticks, what have you. Don't matter. At the end of the day, with all that being said, because I'm not going to go in a humongous, long drawn out discussion on exactly point for point what's going on in the match. This, of course, would be the end of their little rivalry until later on in the upcoming years, or the upcoming months, like into the Royal Rumble. They kind of have a short little feud going on actually in the Royal Rumble to determine who would actually be able to win the Royal Rumble itself. So let's say those are the last two guys, one of those two guys would win. I probably would go with Kurt Angle, since the fact that he never won a Royal Rumble, having him win the World Heavyweight Championship title. From who the hell knows, that doesn't matter, that's not here or there. So we go ahead, just to get into the discussion about the SummerSlam match between these two in a no disqualification submission match. In my personal opinion, I'd have Bret the Hitman Hart win this match because of the fact that, he could go after the legs, and Kurt Angle's recently in the last couple of years have been known to have some pretty bad legs. And, they go ahead and have chain wrestling going on in this match, hitting each other with weapons, Kurt Angle doing the Angle Slam on Bret Hart to the announce table, complete all-out brawl. They kind of fight a little bit around the arena, and the audience can get a little bit involved. Maybe Bret Hart will take a beer from somebody and hit Kurt Angle in the head with it, like a beer can or some shit like that. And have an all-out brawl with each other, but also have technician wrestling also involved in the match. So at the end of the day, yes, I would definitely be having Bret Hart winning this match and making Kurt Angle tap out for the very first time in his career. Them shaking hands, I wouldn't go with, because it would leave the opportunity for any future rivalry with those two in upcoming months or anything that they would want to do in that pay-per-view. But at that point in time for this specific rivalry, I would have it end at this point and maybe go back to it later on. So, in closing, I think this would be an outstanding match. I think it would be 5-star, hardcore wrestling and technical wrestling all rolled into one. Bret Hart walking away with the victory. Both of them showing grit and determination to want to be declared the best wrestler in WWE. And at the end of the day, they both go away looking like winners. Because in all honesty, the way this match would get put together in my mind, that's how I would do it. I mean, you have to have a winner, but at the end of the day, they're still equally as good as the other. That's how I would have this match look like to my WWE audience if I was making up this script for this match. Personally, I think it was the most lost opportunity that ever happened, but unfortunately, they did come into the business at different times and different eras. Bret Hart was near the end of his career when Kurt Angle was starting to come about in WWE. So, in all honesty, this match could have never happened unless Bret Hart never sustained a severe injury from Goldberg at Starrcade '99. But perfectly honest with you, this match would be great. Again, Artie, I appreciate the idea you threw at me, and definitely give all credit to Artie for that. And it was a pleasure speaking with you guys. I really enjoyed doing this. And again, every Tuesday nights, guys, I'm going to be posting a new episode of Fantasy Wrestling Ideas. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, you're crazy, man, because you're missing out on some really interesting and entertaining information that, from my knowledge about all wrestlers that I do these fantasy wrestling ideas, I think is very knowledgeable to my audience and is very fun and enjoyable. Now, granted, am I the best? No, I'm not the best at being a good speaker. Okay, I'm not gonna say that I'm great and everything like that with speaking, but my ideas, my knowledge about professional wrestling, that's where it's at with this channel. That's what I try to put into this every single time I get on this recorder and give you guys episodes and knowledge about what I know about professional wrestling. Now, the thing is that at the end of the day, this is all about fun, this is enjoyment, and it's my hobby. So, if you guys haven't subscribed to this channel, you're missing out on some really good shit. I may not report the news, I may not do any of that, but I give you guys real facts about professional wrestling and wrestlers themselves. And I know about my stuff. I study my history as well as anyone else on YouTube, I'm pretty certain. So at this time, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, and I know I've said that quite a few times and just at the end of this video, hit that subscribe button. You're going to be catching some really good and entertaining knowledge about professional wrestling that I know of. I'm going to try at the end of this week to review something outside of WWE. But at this time, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the Fantasy Wrestling Ideas episode 3, and I will be back next Tuesday to report my next fantasy wrestling idea for episode 4. Thank you, and have a great night, guys. Bye.